So about 2 days ago, I decided to make a player in the website. Goddamn, super cool, awesome, you know, but I couldn't hack it. I just couldn't do it. It just never happened. I tried it and I failed. It was an abomination. But now it's a few days ago, and well, I've hacked it. I can do it. It plays. It does everything I do. If I click on it, it plays. If it finishes, it goes to the next track. It goes to the next track, and when everything is done, it goes to the first track. It's a beautiful, but very good. But here's the thing, right now I have to make a video owing it to myself, show it on tape, because I failed the first time, so I'm not gonna make it again. I'm just gonna explain how I did it, because there are dumbasses like me in the world. So this is the code for it. That's the HTML, that's the CSS, and that's the JavaScript. Shut up, Mirza. Okay, good one. So here's how the HTML is structured, right? Up first, I have a div with the pod player. It's awesome, you know, it just contains everything in it. Inside that, I have a single div, which is the pod container. Inside the pod container, I have two divs. One which is the player and one which is the playlist. The player contains the actual audio tag, and the playlist contains all the p tags, and the p tags contain a span tag which contains the audio source. Before I tried doing it, you know, with a tag, I just didn't know how to do it, so I came up with this hack of the span tags and stuff. And you know what? It works. It works. The span tags work. I'm happy with it. It might be jank, but you know what? Janky smanky. Good job. So in the CSS side, this whole thing is just, what the hell? Why do I have an a tag? I don't want an a tag. Sorry. That's the previous iterations, right? So over here, this is the global styles, which is just the margin 0, padding 0, border box, box, and all the shenanigans. Let's start with the actual thing, the pod player, which is this. It just has a height of 100 and it displays shit flex, which is the child elements. So if I remove these, you should see it goes to the left, which does not look good. Right now it's centered. Awesome. Now the pod container. I have no clue why I have used VH instead of rems. VH is a really bad thing to use for such kind of things, but hey, that's me. I did VH, does not matter. So that's just the pod player. If you see, it's the container that contains everything. Over here, the next one is the player, which is right over there, and I have a background. Oh, you know what? I found something so awesome. So here's the thing, right? There's a player, and obviously if you check, the background is white and the player is F1, F3, F4, which is not white. If you look at the spectrum, it's off-white. It's kind of grayish. If you look at it right now, you can barely see a difference. It's like okay, here's the thing. You can see that might be slightly darker, but not much, you know. But let me remove this border over here. Goddamn. What? Yo, that's so cool. Yeah, goddamn, that's cool. You cannot tell me that's not cool. Yo, right now my eyes is like, that's some sick optical illusion. I just think I can say it's slightly, you know, it's darker. It's slightly darker than the pure white, but it's not as prominent as when it's this. Right now it's so prominent. It's called the contrast something. I don't even know the effect's name, but I've heard about it before, and doing it, you know, by accident is just so cool. But yeah, basically this is the pod player. Let me just hide this and this for ya. No, hide this. Yeah, right now you can see the pod player just looks like this. This just adds a good box to it and just, you know, encloses it and makes it look cool. These things just are, again, aligning stuff center and to the top. I put the Z index to 10 because I always want it at the top. Yeah, that's basically that. So let's move on. The track player is the audio element by itself, which is the width 100%, the outline and border 0. Don't need that. Playlist is the container that contains all the p tags in them, which I've kept the overflow Y to scroll. The Y axis is the vertical axis. The X axis is the horizontal, I think. But yeah, and the height is again a VH. I shouldn't be using VH. I'm going to correct that later. Then I have tracks, which is the p tags. The tracks are displayed block, some padding, and just a cursor pointer. So whenever I hover over it, it shows a pointer instead of just the arrow, I guess. Audio links is the span tag, which is displayed none. If I remove that, you can actually see these are the audio sources, the source thingy McJiggies. That's awesome. I have an active pod, which is just the same color as that. But look at the contrast over here and look at the top. It blows my mind every single time, which is awesome. And I have a hover, which again does the same thing on hover. It just changes things. And that's the active pod that keeps changing. Awesome. So let's move on to JavaScript, I guess. And over here, what should I start with? Let's start with how do I change the active class, right? In this change active function, I'm query selecting the active pod. But you're like, There is no active pod in your HTML, Mazer. What you talking about? But I have an active pod that I've styled in my CSS. So that's what this if check does. If active pod is true, it will remove the active pod, and if it's false, it will just change it. Now let me show you all in action. If I come over here and over here, here. If we check, there is no active pod anywhere. But now if I click on it, this should have an active pod, which is right there. And if I click over here, it removes the active pod from there and puts it on the second one. And if I put it over here, it removes it from there and puts it over there. Yada, yada, yada. You get the drill. Good job. So yeah, let's move on how do I click and select stuff. So I have tracks, which is track player. That's track player. I have tracks, which is over here, which is called tracks. Good job. So since I've query selected tracks function, which is all of these p tags over here, which is stored in the console called tracks, which is convenient. So I have that track in a for each, which will just loop out all of the tracks. So if I come over here and do a console.log track, you should see in the console these tracks are separate and they are individually dropped down. And I just added the event listener to each track. That's the individual track, which is this, and not the tracks. Track is the individual tracks, and tracks is the node list, the bundled up track, which is awesome. It's a click event, and it has a function which takes a parameter e, and here I have a const link equals track.query selector audio links, which is the spam again, and I've just put the target as target. And this is where I messed up previously, but I'll come to that later. So over here, this is how I change the tracks. I just call the function over here and then put track, which is e.target. Every time I click, that's the target. So this is how I change the tracks. As you can see, I've again commented it. Good job, Mirzan. Player.source, which is player is over here, which is the track player, which is the audio source over here. So player.source, which is the source over here, is link.text content. Now what's the link? Link is over here. So if I console log the links, you should get the individual links. If I click on this, oh wait, links.text content. Yeah, you should get that, which is the source, which is transferred to the source over here, which is exactly what's happening, which is player.source equals links.text content, which was, as I showed you, that thing over there. And then the player autoplay is true and preload is true. That's it. It's done. Now comes the part where, it doesn't get complex, but it gets kind of tricky, for me at least, where as the song finishes, it should go to the next song, and as it comes to the end of the playlist, it should go to the first song. So if you check this, it will go to the end. It'll go to the second, sorry. Didn't it? Why didn't it go to the second? And it'll go to the second. Yeah, and now it should go to the third. And now it should come to the first. So that's exactly what I want. So the way I did that is, it's kind of a jerry-rig, again. But over here, I have query selected the audio links, which is the spam, right? I pushed them into an array with the for each. So I did audio links, which is this over here, dot for each, which is audio link. And I've just pushed this thing into this. So I basically just pushed all of these into this, which makes an array. So the reason I wanted an array, because I can use like, the index of the value of the sources or whatever, which I couldn't figure out how to do before. And the song count is just the index of the song that is playing currently. Yeah. So over here, the song count is equal to the index, which is the click. So basically, if I click audio 1, that's the index 0, index 1, and index 2, right? So if index equals song count, so song count will be the same as what I click. So if I click on this, the song count is zeros. Basically, that's it. So I have made a player, which is again this thing over here, the audio track, right? And on the player, I've added an event listener, which has the event of ended. Basically, as the song ends, it will just invoke a callback function. That's basically what the ended function does. So in this player.add event listener, which is the ended event listener, so as the song ends, it will add 1 to the song count, which if the index as of now of the song counter, I think, is 1 or 0, sorry, it will add it to 1. So as the song ends, the song count will be 1. And then there's a simple if check. If song count is less than audiolink.array, which is the array we just made by pushing all of the span tags in them. If it's true, it will the player.source, which I'm doing the same thing over here, but instead of putting the link.text content, I'm putting audiolink.array with the song count, which is probably the next song count, which, because it's song count plus plus, right? Dot text content, obviously, because I need the text content. And then again, it's the same thing with the change active. It changes the active of the thing, so it automatically changes it. If it switches, it went to 1 for some reason. Why did that happen? It went to 3. Okay, something's messed up again. Is it just a refresh? Okay. Okay, now it works. That's good. So yeah, after it changes, I'm just returning the whole thing because I just want to break the if statement. I could easily do it with the if and if else. I don't know. I just went with the return. It's fine. But if this is not true, if the song count is over as of now, which we have 2 with 0, 1, 2, because always 0 index, right? So if it goes 3, then the song count is equal to 0 and the player source is the same thing, yada yada yada. So this is the basic thing. Goddamn. Okay, good job, Mezard. You did fine, I guess. I don't know. But hey, that's how it's done. Yo, that's I did it again. Why? Why do you keep breaking? It's, I don't know, it's just a bug in Edge probably. Goes to the second. Goes to the third. We're done. That's it. We're good right now. It's super good. So that's for the video. I'll catch you later.